In the history of photography, there are lenses that define an era. And then there are lenses that almost disappear into legend. Hi guys, I'm Granger, and today I'm coming to you from the Nikon Museum in Tokyo, a place where Nikon's optical history is preserved in incredible detail. If you're a Nikon shooter, please take a moment to subscribe and turn on notifications. We release new videos every week and we'd love to have you as part of the community.
You've got a Nikon. You're a Nikon photographer.
Now, most people know Nikon's famous range of 300mm f2.8 lenses. They've shot Olympics, World Cups, wildlife expeditions, as well as portraits and motorsports. But today we're looking at something else, something far rarer. So rare, in fact, I didn't even know that it existed until I saw it here at the museum on my first visit back in 2025. This is the AI Nikkor 300mm f2 IFED, not f2.8, this is f2. It's as old as I am, and after 45 years of its release, it's still the fastest 300mm full-frame lens ever made. This lens was built in the early 1980s, during a time when professional sports photography was exploding globally, and manufacturers were in an arms race to deliver faster and sharper super telephoto lenses. This wasn't a catalog item like other long lenses. It wasn't something you could just walk into a shop and purchase. Production numbers were extremely low, and it holds the remarkable distinction of being the fastest 300mm lens ever made for a 35mm SLR. At f2, it was a technical marvel and a prestige project for Nikon. Only around 450 units were ever produced, and each one was by special order. Nikon didn't build this because it would sell in volume. They built it because they could, as a demonstration of their optical and engineering prowess. I think it represents a moment in Nikon's engineering philosophy history where they were pushing the optical limits, and that mattered more than commercial practicality. But here's the important part. The breakthroughs required to design a lens like this didn't stay locked inside a niche product. The materials, coatings, and optical solutions developed here filtered down into more accessible lenses, raising the standard for everyone. So this wasn't just a flex, it was practical, cutting-edge R&D at its most ambitious, and the entire Nikon ecosystem has benefited from that in the decades since. Because this lens wasn't a standard catalog product, it doesn't have a kind of widely published MSRP that you'd find for mainstream lenses. However, surviving historical documentation and enthusiast records that I was able to find suggest that when it was last available, the price was in the region of the mid to high 20,000s of US dollars, like 25 to 29,000. Now consider the inflation. In early 1980s money, that places this lens in an absolutely elite category, effectively the price of a luxury car. Based on 1981 currency values and inflation, in 2026 that makes this around $100,000. For comparison, a 300mm f2.8 from the same era was roughly 10% the cost. That alone explains why so few of these were made. Now let's talk about the practical reality of this thing. The length is about 35 centimeters or 13.5 inches. The diameter is roughly 195 millimeters, almost 8 inches across, and it weighs about 7.1 kilograms. Let that sink in. Almost 16 pounds. This is closer to industrial equipment than casual photography equipment. Now, the optical design of this guy incorporates extra low dispersion glass to control chromatic aberration, which is absolutely critical at this aperture and focal length. It also features internal focusing, or IF, meaning that the lens doesn't extend as you focus it, and that was actually advanced engineering for the time. And that also helps maintain the balance, which when something is this heavy is really important. In terms of filters, obviously you're not screwing something onto the front of this, it's enormous. Instead it's using 52mm drop-in filters at the back, which are typical of Nikon's super telephoto lenses. There's also a built-in rotating tripod collar and a telescoping hood system. This thing was designed for professionals working at the edge of what 35mm photography could handle. And it's crazy that 45 years later, no one has beaten the specifications still. A 300mm f2 lens is one full stop faster than the f2.8 version, so that means twice the light. In practical terms, that's the difference between, say, shooting at 1/250th of a second and 1/500th in the same light, or being able to drop your ISO or film speed by half. But more than light, it's about depth of field. At 300mm and f2, your plane of focus becomes razor thin. Backgrounds melt away in a way that even a 2.8 can't replicate. Now, I own the 200mm f2 lens and it remains the most spectacular portrait lens I've ever used. So I can't wait to see what we're able to do with 300mm at f2. So let's do something a little bit fun. I brought along model Georgia, who's based here in Tokyo, to shoot with us today. And I've mounted my Z8 via the F to Z adapter with the 300 f2. It's so heavy, so front heavy, so I've got a gigantic tripod to support us here. Let me just get my bearings and see how it feels. But gosh, the manual focus experience on this is so nice. Okay, just get some focus pulling shots in 8K 50. Wow, I really didn't expect this. This feels scripted, but I thought an older lens like this is going to be noticeably have aberrations and stuff, but I can just about count the hairs on her head through the viewfinder. This is incredible. And I've got to say, the advantage of being on a modern camera where you can, zoom in to 100% makes this a lot more usable in 2026 than it would have been when it was first released. Today, Nikon's 300mm f2.8 lenses, whether they're F-mount, AFS or Z-mount variants, tend to weigh under 3 kilograms. This guy is more than 2 times that. And of course, modern lenses give you autofocus, vibration reduction, advanced coatings, weather sealing in a lighter package. But here's what they don't give you. They don't give you f2 at 300mm. Even today, that specification is almost mythical. I honestly had to do a triple take when I first saw it in the museum last year. I thought I'd read it wrong, or maybe there was a typo on the labeling in the museum. Of course, modern exotic super telephoto lenses exist, like the 400mm f2.8 and the 600 f4, but 300 f2, it just never became a standard offering in the autofocus era. In many ways, I think this lens represents a pinnacle. We're doing it because we can moment in Nikon's optical engineering history. This lens matters not because it was popular, it wasn't. Most of us wouldn't have even known that it existed. It matters because it shows us what Nikon engineers were willing to attempt. A nearly 17-pound ultra-fast 300mm manual focus lens that cost over $20,000 in the early 80s, built for elite professionals who needed every possible photon. It's a reminder that photography history isn't just about what's sold, it's about what was possible, what was attempted. And standing here outside the Nikon Museum in Tokyo, holding this piece of optical ambition, you can really feel the legacy. If you love Nikon, this lens is part of your heritage, even if you never see one in person. But if you do want to see it, then head on over to the Tokyo Museum. I'll have a link below where you can arrange your trip. It's completely free. In the next episode in this series, we'll look at another piece of Nikon history that shaped the equipment that we use today. I'm Matt Granger, thanks for joining me, and if you are a Nikon user, check out my expert setup guide. It doesn't go through archival pieces like this one, but it does go through every single modern Z camera and shows you everything you need to know to set them up to get the most out of them for your style of shooting. You'll find full details of that one below as well. Big thanks to Nikon for letting me get hands-on with this lens. Honestly, it's a bucket list opportunity for me. I've been petrified the whole time, but what a thrill. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I only did that to scare you. Everything was fine. I pooed a little bit.